Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Times Lifestyle Quiz Night. This is very unusual for us. We're all dressed up. We spent, except I have to say there is a wild card who is in his magnificent nightgown, doing his best impersonation of Hugh Hefner, and you will see that person shortly. I will not tip you over the edge. But welcome, thank you for joining us. We're so excited to be doing this because frankly, we're bored. And I've now finished all of the Game of Thrones. I had never watched it and it's only halfway through. So we're going to have to do many more of these exciting things. So let me explain how this quiz night will work. First things first, I'm Aspasia Karras from the Sunday Times. Please come up with a team name. I see there are lots of fantastic team names already. Fire Dragons, the Inmates, the other guy, Joseph. Thank you. So we just wanted to say that this is really just something fun for family and friends to do. It's not serious, but take it seriously. Some of these questions are real brain teasers. Bear with us if there are any technical issues. We've never done a virtual quiz night before. In fact, we've never done an actual quiz night, and we are hoping this could be the beginning of amazing new things. There are 8 sections to the quiz, with 5 questions per section, and each of our amazing, wonderful, delightful editors and Hugh Hefner will be asking the questions. So that's a total of 40 questions. Each section, as I said, will be hosted by the Sunday Times Quiz Master. The rules: come up with a team name, share it on the comments section, log in with any name you want. That is, there are no rules around the names. Don't spoil the fun by Googling the answers, although we wouldn't know if you were doing it. No derogatory remarks will be tolerated, so try and keep it neat and tidy on the comment section. And don't submit the answers. Basically, each quizmaster will ask the question, they'll ask it a second time. They'll give you a few seconds, not too long, to come up with the answer. We'll ask all the 5 questions, then we will repeat them with the answers, which we have fact-checked to make sure that we're not giving you mistaken answers, and then submit your score. So don't submit the answers, just submit your score so that we can keep track of what's happening. And then at the end, submit your total score with your team name. We do have a magnificent spot prize provided or facilitated really by our travel editor, and we will give that at the end. It is a 3-night stay for 2 people at Motswari Private Game Reserve, so it's worth over 40,000 Rand. The quizmasters were all begging to please be allowed to enter this competition, and we said no, because it's for you. So the Motswari Private Game Reserve is a family-owned and operated luxury safari lodge. The big 5 are on offer there, so amazing viewing opportunities. And the prize includes all meals, breakfast, high tea, dinner, all drinks, soft drinks, beers, and house wine, which is more than we can say for lockdown, and accommodations in a luxury bungalow and 2 daily game drives. So we are ready to start. Are there any questions? I'm going to check on the thing, but it seems all good. They're just names coming through. We're ready. So the first the first quizmaster is Elizabeth Sleith, the lovely travel editor of the Sunday Times Lifestyle. And she is taking it from here. Elizabeth.
Hi, everybody. Am I on?
You're on.
Hi. As Aspasia said, this is all very new to us. Thank you so much for joining us. We actually are all very excited. As she said, my name's Elizabeth. I'm the travel editor, and I think we'll just begin with the questions. I'm going to start with travel question number 1. I'm going to speak slowly, and it is this. According to the MasterCard Global Destination Cities Index, which is done every year, this city in 2019 received more international overnight visitors than any other city in the world. The number was 22.78 million. What is the city? And I'll repeat the question. According to the MasterCard Global Destination Cities Index, this city in 2019 received more international overnight visitors than any other city. 22.78 million. What is the city? Okay, and then travel question number 2 is, in what city can you visit the grave of Irish novelist James Joyce? In what city can you visit the grave of Irish novelist James Joyce? Travel question number 3 is a sports-related one. The soccer stadium in Manchester, England, is a pilgrimage site for fans of Manchester United and is also home to a museum. What is the name of the stadium? The soccer stadium in Manchester, England, is a pilgrimage site for fans of Manchester United and is also home to a museum. What is the name of the stadium? Okay, travel question number 4 is a local one. There is a sculpture in the Joburg CBD which shows a woman carrying a brazier on her head. It was created in 2009 by William Kentridge and Gerard Marx in preparation for the 2010 Soccer World Cup. What is the name of the sculpture? I'm going to repeat the question. Travel question number 4. There's a sculpture in the Joburg CBD which shows a woman carrying a brazier on her head. It was created in 2009 by William Kentridge and Gerard Marx in preparation for the 2010 Soccer World Cup. What is the name of the sculpture? And then question number 5, travel question number 5. In the book Wild by Cheryl Strayed, she describes her solo hike, which was 1,770 kilometers along a famous trail, which actually runs from Mexico to Canada through the US. What is the name of the trail? So that's travel question number 5 again. In the book Wild by Cheryl Strayed, she describes a 1,770 kilometer solo hike along a famous trail which runs all the way from Mexico to Canada through the US. What is the name of the trail? So that's all 5 travel questions, and hope you're ready. I think now we return to question number 1. I'm going to repeat the question and then I'm going to tell you the answer. So travel question number 1, according to the MasterCard Global Destination Cities Index, this city in 2019 received more international overnight visitors than any other city. The number was 22.78 million. What is the city? And the answer is Bangkok. Okay, travel question number 2 was, in what city can you visit the grave of Irish novelist James Joyce? If you guessed Dublin, you were wrong. It was a trick question. The answer is actually Zurich. Travel question number 3 was, the soccer stadium in Manchester, England is a pilgrimage site for fans of Manchester United and is also home to a museum. What is the name of the stadium? And the answer was Old Trafford. Travel question number 4. There is a sculpture in the Joburg CBD which shows a woman carrying a brassiere on her head. It was created in 2009 by William Kentridge and Gerard Marx in preparation for the 2010 Soccer World Cup. What is the name of the sculpture? It's called the Firewalker. And then travel question number 5 was in the book Wild by Cheryl Strayed. She describes a solo hike 1,770 kilometers along a famous trail, which runs from Mexico to Canada through the United States. What is the name of the trail? And the answer was the Pacific Crest Trail. So those are all the travel questions. Thank you.
So I've been noticing that some team members have been confused. Hopefully everyone's managed to press play. We're looking forward to your answers for the travel questions. And we are now moving on to the fabulous BBK and the sports editor of the Sunday Times. He is looking suave and delightful this very evening in his Hugh Hefner gown. In fact, giving Hugh Hefner a run for his money, and he is going to test you right now on your sports knowledge. So over to you, BBK.
Thank you very much, Aspasia. I will have you know that I am no Hugh Hefner, but my other name is indeed Hugh. And before the lockdown, we used to have sessions called the Sunday Times Sunday session, where we will just let our hair go and loosen up. I'm sure it will resume once the lockdown has been cleared and we've dealt with the corona. And indeed, I will be wearing my gown and we will be puffing some cigars. So it's good evening to everybody else at home, and I would like to say to you, my name is BBK Baringba Tsukorjas, and I'm the sports editor of the Sunday Times, and it is great to be doing this with you. I think we're all breaking our virginity in as far as this is concerned. The lockdown is giving us ideas to come up with creative and fine ways of keeping in touch with all of you. So we're going to kick it off with our sports section of our quiz. And our very first question is going to be, who was the Minister of Sport in South Africa when Hansie Cronje was stripped of his captaincy? And this was exactly 2 decades and 2 days ago. I will repeat the question. Who was the sports minister in the Republic of South Africa when late cricketer Hansie Cronje was stripped of his captaincy 2 decades ago? Second question will be of the sports section, meaning name the rugby administrator who forced Nelson Mandela, the first democratically elected president of the country, to court way back in 1998. Sports section quiz number 2, I repeat, is who is the administrator, the rugby administrator, that is, who forced Nelson Mandela, the late former president of the Republic, to go to court in 1998. We're going to change track now and move on to the game of billions, the beautiful game of football, and the sports quiz section number 3 is going to be who captained Bafana Bafana at the 2002 FIFA Soccer World Cup. You will recall that Bafana made their debut at the World Cup in 1998, and I'm interested in finding out as to who captained the national soccer side, Bafana Bafana, at the 2002 FIFA Soccer World Cup, which was held in Korea and Japan. And we're moving on to sports quiz question number 4. I would like you to tell me, when I say to you 43.3 seconds, which South African athlete comes to mind? I repeat, 43.3. Which South African athlete comes to mind when you hear that number? And we round off our final question in the sports section of the Sunday Times quiz. And it says a fight was held in the Democratic Republic of Congo featuring Muhammad Ali and was promoted by which name? What was the name that was used to sell the fight in which Muhammad Ali, or Slay, if it tickles your fancy, what was the name of that billing? What was it titled? It was promoted by Don King. It was held right here in Africa. And that is the end of our 5 questions. Back to you, Aspasia.
Right, I know. Back to you, BBK. You have to give us, you gave us the answers.
No. I just wanted to hear your voice. You've been too quiet.
Apparently, people are loving your cap as well as your gown. Just saying.
Wonderful. I take it to bed with me, and I promise you, it does wonders when my daughter has to go to sleep. She keeps on pulling on it. She's 8 months old, and right now she's looking at me thinking Daddy is going bananas. He's talking to himself.
So I think we need the answers.
The answers will be question number 1. Who was the sports minister when Hansi Cronje was stripped of his captaincy? In cricket in South Africa, I will tell you, it was not Mkele Stofile. It was not Fikile Mbalula. Definitely not the late Steve Tshwete, but it was a certain Nonde Palfa. I will never forget this instance because when the news of the scandal involving Hansi Cronje broke, what we heard was disbelief in the country. A lot of people thinking not our national hero. Nonde Palfa was in hospital, and he actually called a press conference outside his hospital ward, and he said, not my captain, not my Hansi. And the following day, the news broke that indeed Hansi Cronje had covered himself in misglory. The answer for question 2, name the rugby administrator who forced Nelson Mandela to court back in 1998. Pep Potter was not the one. Definitely not Osturan. He's no administrator. And I just made up Piet van der Merwe. The man who did was the one-time rugby administrator who was also a politician and was the president of South African rugby when the Springboks won their maiden Rugby World Cup. This is the late Louis Late. Question 3. Stephen Pienaar was not the Bafana captain at the 2002 World Cup. Neither was it Neil Tovey. It definitely was not Steve Komphela. But the one man you called Groot. This is Lucas Radebe, former Kaizer Chiefs and Leeds United captain. He is the man who was wearing the skipper's armband at the South Korea-Japan World Cup, and it was the first to be co-hosted in the history of the World Cup. Caster Semenya, Akani Simbini, Siyabonga Nomvete, they're definitely not the people who come to mind when you ask which South African athlete comes to mind when you hear the number 43.3. It is definitely Wade van Niekerk, who is the man who made Olympic history when he stand off and made sure that South Africa earned a gold medal on the podium and gave us a lot of joy. And in conclusion to our question, number 5, the fight that was held in the Democratic Republic of Congo during the time of Mobutu Sese Seko was indeed fought by Muhammad Ali. It was not do or die. It was not battle in the bush. Neither was it African safari. But indeed, it was the rumble in the jungle. Those are the 5 answers to the sport quiz section of the Sunday Times. And Aspasia, please take it back.
Thank you, BK. That was the sport. Just for our next section and for the rest of our quiz masters, people are saying, can you ask the questions slightly slower? But thank you, BBK Hugh Courtias. That was a fine moment in our sporting history. We're moving on now rapidly to Hilary Biller, our food editor, and generally beloved foodie. I think this is your moment, Hilary. The entire nation is cooking up a storm. I haven't seen so much bread being made and baked in my life. It's ridiculous. Everyone's on an episode of Come Dine With Me. on the Instagram.
Yes. Hi, good evening. Thank you, Aspasia. Lovely to have you all with us on this Sunday Times quiz night. It's the first of many, I hope. And I know what everybody has been doing, as Aspasia said, it's cooking. And I'm sure you'll have all the answers to hopefully not too difficult questions. My first question, number one, what was Nelson Mandela's favorite dish? What was Nelson Mandela's favorite dish? Okay, number two, what made Jan van Riebeeck particularly happy on February the 2nd, 1659? I'll give you a clue, it's something we're all missing or don't have enough of. Okay, I'll repeat question two. What made Jan van Riebeeck particularly happy on February the 2nd, 1659? Question three. What popular drink is produced from a plant indigenous to the African continent? And if you're very smart, you can name the country where it was first grown. I'll repeat the question. Which popular drink is produced from a plant indigenous to the African continent? And there's a second part. Can you name the country where it was first grown? Okay, question number four. What South African dish with an Afrikaans name, sorry, I've lost my place. What South African dish with an Afrikaans name is named after an animal and enjoyed cooked over the coals? I'll repeat that question. Question number four. What South African dish with an Afrikaans name is named after an animal and usually cooked over the coals? All right, my last question, number five. Amadumbi or Madumbi is a popular root crop in subtropical parts of South Africa. What is its common name elsewhere? Okay, I'm going to repeat my last question, number five. Amadumbi or Madumbi is a popular root crop in subtropical parts of South Africa. What is its common name elsewhere? Okay, now on to the answers. I hope it hasn't been too difficult, and I'm sure you know them all. Let's start with question one. What was Nelson Mandela's favorite dish? The answer is in Nush or Nush, an Eastern Cape dish of sampan beans. I'm sorry, I didn't get the click there. The answer is Nush, and it's sampan beans, a dish from the Eastern Cape. Okay, question two, what made Jan van Riebeeck particularly happy on February the 2nd, 1659? That's an easy one. The first wine was pressed from grapes grown in the Cape on that day. Incredible to think, and how we miss it. Okay, this answer to number two is the first wine was pressed from grapes in the Cape on February the 2nd, 1659, which made Van Riebeeck particularly happy. Okay, question three, which popular drink is produced from a plant indigenous to the African continent, and the name of the country where it was first grown? It's coffee, and it's indigenous to, it was first grown in Ethiopia. Question four, the answer, what South African dish with an Afrikaans name is named after an animal and usually enjoyed cooked over the braai? That's a skilpaaitjie. It's a tortoise. And it's made up of chopped liver, which is usually lamb's liver, and it's wrapped in caul fat and cooked over the coals. Delicious. Okay, and in question five, the last one, Amadumbi or Madumbi, a popular root crop grown in subtropical parts of South Africa. The common name is taro, and it's one of the oldest cultivated crops in the world, and probably actually indigenous to Southeast Asia. but the answer is tarot. Thank you so much. I hope you've had some fun with food, and we look forward to the next quiz. Cheers.
So that was Hilary Biller challenging us. Those were quite some challenging questions, Hills. She grilled us, so to speak. I never knew that about, I mean, the coffee was a total surprise to me. We're moving on to books, literature. Jennifer Platt, our books editor, has prepared some serious questions of a literary variety. And here we go. Over to you, Jen.
Thanks, Aspasia. Hello, all Sunday Times readers. Really happy to be here and really happy to do this with you. Hilary said that everybody's cooking, and I think everybody's reading, but we're not going to go and compete on that level, not today. So my 5 questions, I'm going to start with an easy one. And it's like, who created the character Jack Reacher? And I'll ask it again, and it's, who created the character Jack Reacher? So that's the first question. That's the first book question. The second book question is, what nationality is the Nobel laureate Orhan Pamuk? And I'll repeat the question again, and it's, what nationality is the Nobel laureate Orhan Pamuk? The third question is, what is the title of, the Michelle Obama's memoir? I think we all know who the former First Lady of the United States is, and she wrote a memoir. And so, what is the title of Michelle Obama's memoir? And the fourth question is, name the author who won the first Sunday Times Fiction Prize for his novel, Heart of Redness. And this was in 2001. So the question is, who was the author who won the first Sunday Times Fiction Prize for his novel, Heart of Redness? And the fifth question is, Bitches Brew and the Longest March is the books written by which popular South African author? So that's our fifth question, and I'll say it again. Which author wrote Bitches Brew and the Longest March, and is a very popular South African author and columnist? So I hope you know all of these questions. I hope you guys are like readers like me. So let's see what you guys have, and I'll give you the answers soon. Just wait 1 or 2 seconds and we'll go through it again. Who created the character Jack Reacher? And the answer is Lee Child. What nationality is the Nobel laureate Orhan Pamuk? And he is actually Turkish, and he has a whole museum in Turkey, and you can go there, you can experience all of his like amazing things that he's like sought through all of these years. So go to Turkey, go experience Orhan Pamuk's museum. And what is the title of Michelle Obama's memoir? It's Becoming, which is great, Becoming Michelle Obama. And named the author who won the first Sunday Times Fiction Prize for his novel Heart of Redness. That is Zakes and Dar. I don't think anybody can beat that. Zakes and Dar won the first Sunday Times Fiction Prize in 2001. And Bitches Brew and the Longest March, which is his latest book, is written by Fred Khumalo. So I hope you all go on to and get all of these books, and they're available via ebook. So just get them, read them. You'll be amazed by all that's there. Back to you, Aspasia.
So guys, things are heating up on the quiz night chat room. I see that Just Me and a Pot Plant scored an abysmal 0 out of 5, I think, in the sports round. And Homeward Bound did brilliantly for food. They got 4 out of 5. Hills, somebody was asking if rooibos tea counted instead of coffee, but I think coffee is so much more impressive. The Potato Heads, 2 out of 5. The Asker Bandits, 3 out of 5 for the last round. Very exciting. Pinky and the Brain, doing really well. Somebody saying this is difficult. Good. We need to challenge you guys and ourselves. Next up is Yolisa Mkele, who is our fantastic features writer, man about town, and music pundit. And he has some serious questions for us of a musical bent. So Yolisa.
Thank you so much, Aspasia. Hello, everyone. I have always wanted to do this. I love doing quiz nights, except every time I go to a quiz night, there are always questions about Barry Manilow or the first album that the Rolling Stones put out. And I feel like those questions are always rigged against people who were not born like 1,000 years ago. Apologies for everybody else. But so I have my questions. I think they're easy. You guys will tell me whether or not they are or aren't. We've been told to slow down the asking of the questions, so I'll make it nice and easy for you to get into this. I expect 5 out of 5s, guys. I want 5 out of 5s without Google. So first question. How long did Lil Nas X's record-breaking song, Old Town Road, stay at #1 on the Billboard chart for? I'll ask that again. How long did Lil Nas X, remember that guy, I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road, that song. How long did Lil Nas X's record-breaking debut single spend at the top of the Billboard charts, at #1? Question number 2. Which solo artist, and this is kind of a trick question, I know some of you want to jump ahead of this, which solo artist, by him or herself, has, what? Ooh, I lost my place. Which solo artist has more, which solo artist has more #1 albums than anybody else? Again, which solo artist has more #1 albums, not songs, and solo albums than anybody else? A hint there is a song he did. If you guys like a certain type of music I like, and I've sort of given hints here, but he once said, I crushed Elvis in his blue suede shoes. Question 3. Acclaimed for making songs like The Hills, Wicked Games, Party Monster, and most recently, Until I Bleed Out. What is Abel McConan Tesfaire's, I might have pronounced that wrong, but what is Abel McConan Tesfaire's stage name? I'll say that again. Acclaimed for making songs like The Hills, Wicked Games, Party Monster, and most recently, Until I Bleed Out. What is Abel McConan Tesfaire's stage name? All right, we're almost there. I'm sure you are all on 3 out of 3 right now. Question 4. Which legendary record producer in 2018 had an interview with Vulture and Ooh, sorry about that. And so I'll start again. Which legendary record producer set the internet on fire in 2018 when he did an interview with Vulture claiming that Richard Pryor and Marlon Brando were lovers, that the Beatles were terrible musicians, that he knew who killed Kennedy, and that he had dated Ivanka Trump? One more time, because that's also, there's a lot that happened in that interview and it was hilarious. It was actually the best interview I've ever seen. But which legendary record producer set the internet on fire in 2018 when he claimed that Richard Pryor and Marlon Brando were lovers, that the Beatles were terrible musicians, which they kind of are, but that's not the story, that he knew who killed Kennedy, and that he had dated Ivanka Trump? Last one, here you go for all the marbles. Which retired rapper who used to be part of a group called Slaughterhouse now does a bi-weekly podcast on Spotify that reportedly gets 2 million listens per episode? One more time. And again, if you have Instagram, I promise you know this. Which retired rapper who used to be part of a group called Slaughterhouse is part of a bi-weekly podcast on Spotify that reportedly gets 2 million listens per episode? All right, I feel like I did that slowly, right? So let's do the answers. Answer to question one. How long did Lil Nas X's record-breaking debut single, Well, I'm Gonna Take My Horse, that one, Old Town Road, spend at the top of the Billboard charts? Not what record did he break, but how long did it spend there? The answer is 19 weeks. How long did he spend at number one? 19 weeks. Answer to number two. Which solo musician has the most number one albums? Paul McCartney tries to finesse this because technically he has 27, but he also has a whole bunch with the Beatles. It's not Paul McCartney, it is Jay-Z. Jay-Z has 13 number one albums. 3, acclaimed for making songs like The Hills, Wicked Games, Party Monster, and Until I Bleed Out. What is Abel McConan Tesfayev's name? I probably pronounced his surname terribly, but you all know him as The Weeknd. 4, which legendary record producer set the internet on fire when he revealed that Richard Pryor and Marlon Brando were lovers, that, where are all of these things? That he knew who killed Kennedy, that the Beatles were terrible musicians, and that he dated Ivanka Trump? None other than Quincy Jones. And his daughter had to make a very big retraction the next day. It was a whole big scandal. And not because it wasn't untrue, but just because she was like, listen, my dad is losing his ability to filter himself. And finally, which retired rapper and ex-member of the group Slaughterhouse hosts a bi-weekly podcast on Spotify that reportedly has 2 million listens per episode? The answer is Joe Budden. And that's all I got. I mean, I thought it was easy.
No, Lisa, people are like, oh my word, it's too mysterious for them.
That's how I felt when I went to the quiz night and had to figure out what Barry Manilow was.
He's a man with a microphone. So we are rapidly moving on to fashion because we want to keep people engaged on multiple platforms. This is one where nobody has had any reason to dress up at all unless you're taking out rubbish in Australia, in which case, you know, people have been wearing their ball gowns. So hand over to the lovely Sharon Armstrong, our fashion director.
Hi everyone, I'm Sharon Armstrong. I'm a fashion director. We've definitely been taking it easy on the fashion front, but I've got some questions for you. So fashion question number 1, which Italian footwear designer, he recently passed away. He famously did the Godiva pump. So I'll repeat the question. Which Italian footwear designer recently passed away? He was designer of the Godiva pump. Fashion question number 2. What is the hometown of our local designer, Tebe Magugu, who just recently won the Vogue, the LVMH prize? I'll repeat the question. What is the hometown of our local designer, Tebe Magugu? Fashion question number 3. Which local designer just released a unisex fragrance called Double Platinum? Repeat question number 3. Which local designer just released a unisex fragrance called Double Platinum? Fashion question number 4. What is on the cover of the latest Italian Vogue? And again, what is on the cover of the latest Italian Vogue? And our final question, which local designer is a semi-finalist in the LVMH prize for 2020? So I'll repeat the question. Which local designer is a semi-finalist in the LVMH prize for 2020? And now we can go to the answers. Which Italian footwear designer recently passed away? That was Sergio Rossi. The hometown of local designer Tebe Magugu is Kimberley. Which local designer released a unisex fragrance called Double Platinum? That was Gert Johan Coetzee. What is on the cover of the latest Italian Vogue? It's a pure white cover. And which local designer is a semi-finalist for the LVMH prize 2020? And it's Sindiso Khumalo. Thank you. Back to you, Aspasia.
So I am looking at the answers online. Revolution got 3 for music, which is very impressive because Night Owl got none, 0, no answers. So thanks, Sharon, for that. Just to say that this is really impressive that the Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy prize keeps on getting, our local designers keep on getting shortlisted. Terribly impressive. We are moving on to motoring because we want to keep it even and fair for everyone. So 1 for the gentlemen and the speed queens amongst us. So Thomas Falkiner, a fabulous, speedy speedster, is going to... Thomas, what is it that you're wearing? There we go.
Let's go. Evening, everybody. Thomas Falkiner from the Sunday Times Lifestyle section in Times Live Motoring. Excuse my diabolical facial hair. It's a throwback to like 90s, 70s NASCAR. It's something new I'm trying from the safety of my lockdown house. So if it offends you, if you don't like it, too bad. You're stuck with it. Yeah, so I don't know anything about fashion or culture really. I just know a little bit about cars. So I'm going to ask you a couple of fairly simple, I think, questions. And the first one is, what was the last production car to ever be fitted with flip-up headlights? I'll repeat that question. What was the last production car to ever be fitted with flip-up headlights? Moving on to question number 2. Which Formula One racer is often referred to as the greatest driver never to win the World Championship? I'll repeat that question. Which Formula One racer is often referred to as the greatest driver never to win the World Championship? Back to the 80s, because I like the 80s. Which infamous 1980 sports car had a body clad in stainless steel? I'll repeat that question. Which infamous 1980 sports car had a body clad in stainless steel? Question number 4. True or false? The average Formula One pit stop is completed in 3 seconds. I'll repeat that. True or false? The average Formula One pit stop is completed in 3 seconds. And by average, I mean the 2019 average, because we haven't really had any Formula One races in 2020. We all know why. My final question for you guys is, what was the name of the Shelby GT500 in the 2000 remake of Gone in 60 Seconds? I'll repeat that question. What was the name of the Shelby GT500 in the 2000 remake of Gone in 60 Seconds? All right. So now we're just going to do a little recap, and I'll read the questions out and give you the answers. So, question 1. What was the last production car to ever be fitted with flip-up headlights? And the answer is Corvette C5, but I will accept Lotus Esprit as well. Both are correct. Question number 2. Which Formula One racer is often referred to as the greatest driver never to win the World Championship? The answer to that question is Sir Sterling Moss, who passed away on Easter Sunday. Question number 3. Which infamous 1980 sports car had a body clad in stainless steel? That's a fairly easy one for you all, and that was the DeLorean DMC-12 that featured in Back to the Future, one of my personal favorites. Question number 4, true or false? The average Formula One pit stop is completed in 3 seconds. If you said true, you would be wrong. It is false. The average Formula One pit stop is, according to Google, completed in just 2.4 seconds. That's impressively snappy. And my last question, what was the name of the Shelby GT500 in the 2000 remake of Gone in 60 Seconds? Probably all got this one right. It was Eleanor. That was the name of the GT500 that Nicolas Cage, I think it was Nicolas Cage, was driving around in. And he had that little thing with Angelina Jolie. Not a great remake, but a remake nonetheless. And yeah, if you grew up in the 2000s, you probably saw it. So yeah, that's all from motoring. And with that, back to Aspasia in the studio.
In the studio here at Team Aspasia Karras. Chaps, these questions are keeping people on their toes. We had just to report back that Shafi got 4 out of 5 for fashion, and motoring was showing Raisibe the flames. Flames indeed. Also, quite the outfit there, Mr. Falkiner. So thank you, everybody. We are now coming up to the real brains of the evening, the wonderful wordsmith, Sue de Groot, who has been twisting our minds with her column for years, and who is going to seriously challenge us with her word questions, her word games, let's put it that way. So over to you, Sue.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our quiz night. Very nice to be here. Bit of pressure there. So anyway, I'm Sue. I work on the Sunday Times Insight Features section. This is Jimmy. Say hi, everyone. but he's just learning to read, so we'll put him aside for now. So I'm going to give you 5 questions. The answer to each is a word. I will give you the first letter of the word, or in one case, the phrase. And you might notice that the first letter of each answer spells out an acronym with which we're all quite familiar, but you don't get extra points for that because I think you'll all see that. Okay, so let's begin. Question 1 in the words section is, what 4-letter word starting with C, no, it's not that one, which is either a verb meaning to slightly burn something or an old-fashioned noun meaning a person who cleans houses. I'll repeat that. Which 4-letter word starting with C is either a verb that means to slightly burn something or a noun describing a person who cleans houses? Okay, question 2 in the word section is, this is not a word but a phrase. So the phrase is a 3-word phrase. It was coined by Shakespeare in his play Macbeth. It means when something goes really, really bad, really, really suddenly all at once, and a whole lot of stuff just goes bad. The first word of the phrase is a 3-letter word that starts with an O. The second word is a 4-letter word starting with an F and is often mispronounced. Let me start all that again. So what 3-word phrase, the first word of which starts with an O, comes from Shakespeare's play Macbeth and has become a common expression to describe a bunch of bad stuff that happens suddenly all at once? And your clue again is the second word starts with an F. I'll give you even more of a clue. It's often misquoted as foul, but to get this phrase, you need to give the original word. All right, question 3 in the word section. They get easier, I promise. Which word starting with a V means disgusting and is part of the title of a book by author Evelyn Waugh? I'll repeat that. Which word starting with a V, clue it has 4 letters, means disgusting and is part of the title of a novel by author Evelyn Waugh, who, by the way, was a man? Okay, question 4 in the word section. Which word starting with an I, if you're keeping track, you might see where the acronym's going. Which word starting with an I means a dome-shaped structure? It's a dome-shaped structure, which was a word introduced into English by Canadians who thought it was what Indigenous people who lived in the icy north called their homes. Let me repeat that. Which word starting with an I, it has 5 letters, means a dome-shaped structure, and was introduced into English by Canadians who thought it was what Indigenous people living in the far icy north of North America called their homes. Question 5 in the words section. Which archaic 9-letter word, it's not used much anymore, it starts with a D and it has 9 letters. Which 9-letter word starting with D originally meant dull, but finally came to mean cowardly, and sounds quite similar to what people used to call someone born out of wedlock. In other words, someone illegitimate. I'll repeat that. Which archaic 9-letter word starting with D originally meant dull, then came to mean cowardly, and sounds similar to someone born out of wedlock? All right, everyone ready for the answers? So, number 1, the 4-letter word starting with a C, that means either to slightly burn something or someone who there's someone filming Aspasia from the back. Sorry. Well, the 4-letter word starting with C, which means either to slightly burn something or someone who cleans houses, is a char, C-H-A-R, char. And I include that because I think all of us who are privileged enough to employ domestic workers are missing them terribly and appreciating them greatly. And I do hope they're all safe, and I'm sure that everyone is doing everything they can to keep paying people through this crisis. So thank you for doing that. The second question, what 3-word phrase, which comes from Shakespeare and has become a common expression to describe bad stuff, is one fell swoop? Now, I think if you got that right, many people might have said one foul swoop because it's kind of become that, but he originally wrote fell, which is F-E-L-L, an old word for evil. And let me, number 3, the third one. Which word starting with V means disgusting and is part of the title of a novel by author Evelyn Waugh? The word is vile, and the novel is called Vile Bodies, and it's very good, so go and read it. The third one, which word starting with I means a dome-shaped structure, which Canadians thought was the name of a house made by Indigenous people in the icy northern west. That, of course, is an igloo. I'm sure you all got that. And the last one, much more difficult, the archaic 9-letter word starting with a D, which originally meant dull, but then meant cowardly and sounds like bastard, is dastardly. So if you watch some very old movies, kind of Barry Manilow's era, you'll hear people going, "Thou dastardly villain." And that's the word section. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Sue. That was hugely fun and dastardly, I'm sure, for a whole lot of people who were baffled by your word games, but delightful nevertheless. Having just watched all of Game of Thrones, as I said, I was very much into bastardly. There were many of those. It was the theme, it seems. Okay, so guys, send us your final score on the quiz. We are delighted that you had fun. That is it, really. We do have a random winner of the prize, and that winner is Lauren Fabian. So we will contact you, Lauren, with further information so that after the lockdown, you can actually head off and enjoy that wonderful safari escape, which, sure, God knows we're all desperate for. I don't know if you all saw in the travel section of the lifestyle, we ran a whole lot of stories about which game reserves are running live streams of all the animals, and it's been a complete escapist pleasure to see nature coming back all over in all sorts of places. So I don't know, this is it, I think. Thank you. Maybe send us your rounds, your final numbers. I could it's very exciting. Team Malmesbury got 9 out of 40. Shoo, they say. It's quite exciting. The Hawks got 14. The Turleys got 10 out of 40. Quick Thinking Quarantinas got 20, and even 20. The Kaplans got 19. The Dynamic Duo got 70. Ricky, the only one, got 11. Guys, they were tricky, these questions. Let us know on the chat, on the quiz night chat room, if you want us to do more of these. We really, really enjoyed it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the fabulous editors who gave up their time this evening, and good luck with the rest of the lockdown. We'll invite you to more of these. We're very happy you joined us. Bye, everybody.